Another eclipse video has come to my attention. Now I am triggered. Let me tell you guys what's going to happen on April 8th because of the eclipse. Nothing. What will happen, some people may see a flood or some people may have an earthquake. We're having crazy wind in Utah. You'll have some people talking about, oh, the stars are aligned and the planetary alignment and whatnot. That happens every single day. I am triggered by the fact that so many people that are coming across my feed or stuff I'm seeing on social media attributes everything that's going to happen that day as bad because of the eclipse. Everything is going to be attributed to April 8th, but no one's going to take credit. Why would they? It's a scapegoat. It's a cop-out. An earthquake or a flood, a storm, a tornado, things that happen all the time will suddenly be highlighted on that day. And up to the days leading up to April 8th, it's going to be highlighted excessively. Why? Because people are instilling fear in other people. Oh, it's because of the eclipse. There's people walking around in fear, dreading that day, preparing for that day, not even sure what they're preparing for. If something actually happens on the day, it's because we did it. The fear and the concern that's going into April 8th should equally be accompanied with the lack of fear that nothing's going to happen. Now, on a spiritual level, I do think that we need to pay attention and meditate on how that's going to affect us, only because at any time, spiritually, we can elevate and move to higher frequencies. If nobody understands that, then they're going to stay where they're at. So there's a different type of person, one that's more aware and awake, and the one that pretends that's awake and thinks they know everything, but they're just enjoying life. It's not a bad thing. People want to just enjoy life. That's all good. Enjoy your life and believe what other people tell you to believe and go with the flow with what somebody is instructing you to do. I actually don't mind if people don't want to be elevated and they don't want to introduce themselves or be open to psychic, spiritual, or sensitive type of lives. That's okay. Enjoy your life. That's great. I just like to share what I think is true. I'm not suggesting one type of person is better than the other, but I will admit I'd rather be on the spiritual, more elevated side. I don't look down on people that want to be unelevated and don't care to understand the type of stuff I talk about. I love sharing what I do and think because some people might have something to say about it. Agree, argue. Maybe somebody can teach me something in return, or maybe what I'm saying will touch people and it'll resonate with them in a certain way. Elevated people do a little more thinking. They question and doubt everything around them, in my opinion. At least that's how I am. I don't necessarily go with whatever organized religion tells me. I don't necessarily believe what every spiritual scripture insists on, what spirituality and how blind faith should be. That's the luxury we all have, to choose how we're going to do that. My personal concern is if we have enough of the world, enough of the energy of the world is fear, that will not end well for our kind. So now I want to talk about what a solar eclipse actually is. I'm going to do it using the decor from the house and chopsticks. By the way, I walked back in the house and my partner's like, what are you doing with my shit? Let's pretend this is the earth and this is the moon. As the earth is rotating around the sun, it's got the moon rotating around it. It goes wherever it wants, does its thing, controls the tides. We have the sun there, right? The earth goes around the sun. And then the moon goes around the earth, right? The moon will go around the earth as the earth goes around the sun. To us, we're stationary and the sun is moving around the earth because the earth is orbiting around the sun. But to us, when we see a sun rise and set, it's from east to west, right? Is that right? East to west, we'll go with that. And the shadow will go the opposite direction. So let's say that stop sign is the surface of the United States or the earth. You'll have the moon floating in the air. When the sun goes from east to west, that shadow goes the opposite direction. Now that's the shadow everyone's going to see go from Texas up north to Canada. I'm not one to be looking to be right. I don't care to be correct. I'm more questioning and challenging all this negative stuff that's going around the internet and on social media about how people are concerned about wars, about natural disasters, about aliens coming from outer space. That stuff is a concern all the time. And for some reason, there's this distraction about April 8th. It's just an eclipse. right? The shadow of the moon in this case is going to be over the earth because the sun is behind it. I think all that is logical. I mean, if somebody didn't receive the education I got, which I just explained with balls and chopsticks, they might believe everything they're listening to, but there's just a shadow going over the earth. If anything happens, it's because it was started by someone of our kind. It's not because the planets who have been doing what they're doing for years and centuries, and as far as we know, beginning of time, they're still doing what they're doing. We're the ones that cause and create and manage what occurs down here. I can understand how it could easily be disguised as this has never happened before. If they appeal to the right type of person who's not aware of history or doesn't keep paying attention, or maybe hasn't been alive as much as me, or someone that's older than me, would think, oh my gosh, now I gotta prepare. Oh wow, look, I don't know about this. And they see things like, oh, an eclipse, what is that? And they start learning, but they don't consider eclipses happen all the time. There's even lunar eclipses where you know you have the sun and then the moon's right there, and it does that whole you know, the ring of light. If you're the type of person that wants to believe that there's a negative outcome to a basic eclipse happening in nature, that's all good. I still maintain that's not the case. The types of concerns such as natural disasters or war or human beings killing human beings, that's a concern for me all the time, and it's something I don't want. If you're that type of person that's gonna go with that fear mongering, you're the type of person that wants to believe all the mystical and magical things that can occur from April 8th, that's all good. I just invite you to consider there's another part of it. Okay, rant over.